Hello, everyone. And I'm going to do a share screen here for just a moment. Today is August 28th, and we're doing a Zoomcast on the ELIXIS MUNDI and its connections to a lot of things. I tried to come up with like a snappy title for this Zoomcast, and I just couldn't because there's so much to talk about. What you're seeing right here is my main website, New Earth Star Inner Academy, which you can get by going to newearthstar.org. So I'm going to go back to stop sharing to our screen, to all our lovely participants today. Oh gosh, so where to begin? Well, I have a bunch of things to pull up, but first, just sort of a recap, and I can't be too long in the recap, but because there's so much to recap. But the ELIXIS MUNDI is a light program under the Osiris Arising Project, and there's a lot of aspects to it, but it primarily focuses on the Areiopax dynamic, which is a dynamic that I received back probably in the 1980s, maybe early 90s, and we've been working with a lot of different people and working with it in different ways, and just in schematics and drawings, and Bill has been working with it in synergy work a lot. But now, a new platform we have with the Osiris Arising, and Thoth Intelligence came through and said, well, now's the time to take it to a new level with the Areiopax work, but it's wrapped in this wrapper of ELIXIS MUNDI, because apparently there's more to ELIXIS MUNDI than that. I know there is, but we just haven't really unrolled it yet because so much is happening. And the ELIXIS MUNDI is very intricately connected to the Osiri corpus, which is a light program that the beings, the ultras, the kindred are doing, and that is creating this island of the sun, and we're going to talk about really what that really is in a minute, that is containing a whole holographic field that they can come into and create operatives, I guess you'd say, that help us, that connect with us, to help us build our genetic system back, or rebuild it back to what it was. And that's where the corpus comes in. And there's a lot of aspects to that, but we're not going to go into that right now. So we can also see this whole seven sun principle, you know, the seven worlds and the seven suns. We're going to show a little bit more about how that works with the Areiopax. So these are different things that we're going to be profiling, and I see more people coming in. Hello, Kailasa and Bart, Paramlexis, and anyone else new, hello, hello. So now, where do we start first? I got to pull up my notes, which is right. Oh, there it is. Okay, I want to show you, this just really is fascinating, and I believe that I put it up earlier on some of the pages we were working with, but I wanted to show it here. I came across this after I restarted my work with the Areiopax, or rather somebody presented it to me, said, oh, look at this, and look, here it is. I mean, there's the whole working system, and it's called phase conjunction. Now, I already posted this, so I'm not going to go back on it again, but phase conjunction is a conjunction, is that it? Conjunctation, or what? Conjunction. Well, I think that's what it is originally and classically understood in the optics literature. You take pairs of laser beams precisely approaching in opposite directions. If they meet and conjugate perfectly, then at the center, they phase conjugate. That's the word I was looking for, conjugate. So how do layers meet to conjugate? When they meet in precise opposing pairs, this is often four-way mixing. Getting opposing exactly phase-locked laser beams to align in this way is very tricky and very expensive, because you need alignment accuracy down to the angstrom levels. Well, it goes on and on. But if we take this idea, this phase conjugation, which is obviously going on within the Areiopax, and apply it to the whole principle of using, well, the Areiopax, the ISIS I is the core accelerator connector for ascension and portals. You know, it's that's what it does. And it's very precise. It's something that is inserted into a field of reference so that there's a precision in the works. In other words, let's say, you know, they're naturally occurring portals, okay? But they're kind of tricky. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to from here to, you know, Alpha Centauri, and I'm going to land on the mountain of so-and-so, and, you know, approximately at such and such time, Earth time, and that's where I'm going to be. Well, you can't just jump into a naturally occurring portal and expect to get there. So the Areiopax formula here, and especially with this phase conjugation thing, locks in to a specific place, situation, I don't know if time is the right word, and gets you there. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's precision. That's what I'm really trying to say. It's the crucible of precision. So that said, you know what? Did I show? Am I showing you? Did I do a shared screen on that? I didn't do a shared screen on that. Oh boy. Okay. Well, this is what I'm talking about right here. I'll get the hang of this. That's what I'm talking about. That's the phase conjugation picture, and it really gives you an idea of what is going on there. So, and I do have that posted under my ELIXIS MUNDI material. Okay, so now we come back, and I'm going to go over to the next one. Oh, not yet. Oh, yeah, wait, there's one other. Okay, this one. Oh, dear. Okay, here we go. I'm going to come back to you guys. See, I've got to keep switching back and forth to be able to do this properly and do a share screen with this. Okay, so here we have the swastika. And of course, we all know that the Nazis took it in, you know, an ancient sacred symbol, sun symbol, and used it for their own purposes. But Thoth is saying that this swastika symbol is at the core function of the active. When you spin the Areiopax within its phase conjugation, you get a swastika. And it can spin either way. It can spin right angled, right hand, let's say, or it can spin left hand. And depending upon that, you know, brings different sequencing into order. So I'm just mentioning that. These are just little tidbits I want to bring up. Now I don't want to do that anymore. I want to come back to here. So, so let's look at the ELIXIS MUNDI in relationship to the Isle of the Sun and the Orsiri Corpus light program there. And in doing so, we need to see that we need to understand what this Isle of the Sun really is, and it, you know, what is going on here. Now, what came up yesterday for me, Thoth gave me this term, and I've got to say it right. It's hydrogenous bubbles. Now I'm going to put it, I don't know if people viewing the video can see it, but I'm going to put it in here for the ones that are participating. Just one moment. Let me get back to you. And I'm going to put it in our little chat box here, chatting to everyone so you can see it. Hydrogenous bubbles. If you click on your chat, you can get it. So I want to read to you just a small explanation of that because I want to get it right. So I have to go back over here. I've got things spread out all over the place. Here we are. Okay. Hydrogenous bubbles are created from the membrane surrounding the Isle of the Sun, which is also hydrogenous. But unlike the bubbles, we will call it a holosphere. So we've got the Isle of the Sun is really a hydrogenous holosphere. And so it's saying but unlike the bubbles, these Isle of the Sun is a holosphere, as it is more stable and contains a complete holographic platform. Kind of think computers here, and it helps figure this out. The hydrogenous bubbles, or the H bubbles, I'm going to call them, are more fluid and set loose like balloons to float around the seas, moving with the currents of the magnotherium. And the magnotherium, that's what it is, the magnotherium, are waveforms created between a water mass and the magnetic field of the Earth and being pulled through the cycles of the solar lunar magnetic shells. Now, if you want to read more about solar lunar magnetic sheaths, it's sheaths, not shells, you can go up to Spirit Mythos, and in the search box, just put solar lunar magnetic sheaths, and you should come up with it. Okay. The hydrogenous bubbles, or H bubbles, each contain a hollow charged quantum array. The array is like an energetic signature with quantum properties, allowing it to act as a molecule swimming in the fluidium of the Gaia body. The function of the H bubbles are to create hollow nodes within the pyramidus radius matrix. That's that huge matrix that's our bridging to in preparation field for the new Earth star. So its purpose is to create hollow nodes within the pyramidus radius matrix that are viable markers for the creation of a hollow overlay to the current holographic projection of Earth as humans see it now. This will not replace the current hologram, but become a projector for a new level hologram, that which supports the full light display of the pyramidus radius. So you might say that it's the upstairs. It's a new level of it. So you've got the base level, which is going on as we see it now, and then you're going to have this overlay. It's already beginning to build in many ways, but the H bubbles are like the major part of getting it going here. Remember, the pyramidus radius matrix is the hollow theater in which the Earth and its awakened population, flora and fauna, will be prepared for the light principle 40 ascension into world system 2, new Earth, and thus a completely new hologram arising from the same planetary genius of this Earth, transported into a new state being. But right now, we're dealing with our hollow theater, and that is not world system 2. It's this interface. It's an interface. That's why they're creating a hollow platform above, so shall we say, what we're experiencing here now. The ELIXIS MUNDI light program of Osiris Arising can assist in connecting the H-bubble nodes through activating Areiopax fields at various locations on the planet. The Areiopax fields will act as a stimulus to start up the H-bubbles so that they unfold their array and begin activation. Now, see, my situation is that what I would really like to be doing is to be creating this imagery in 3D, you know, turn it, you can see it this way, that, because trying to explain it in 2D is falling flat. And I made pictures and stuff, but you know, it's not the same, but I can't do that. I don't have the software. And even if I had could afford the software, and I probably, you know, it would take too long to figure out how to run it. My days of starting from scratch are over with. But I do have a picture, a little measly picture here that I created just to kind of give you an idea about this. Let me pull it up and then turn the screen on it. Okay, now I have to go back and get the screen. Share screens. Okay, so here's my picture. And it, you know, you wouldn't believe how long I worked on this little thing, just trying to get a visualization of it. But this is the holosphere not the holosphere, the hollow bubble in the stage of it's just being. It's just being here, you know, and it's floating around and it's following these currents. And we may not be able to see them physically, but they're already starting to promulgate them, to put them out there. And some people will probably be able to see them at times. Now, the size of them, I don't know exactly, but they're not tiny. They're not like the little spheres we see floating around. These are big. These are, you know, at the very least, you know, you could fit several large houses into it, but they're probably bigger than that. And but this is the stage where they're just existing. They're just tuned. When they open their array, this whole inner part will like create a wheel around it, and in that wheel you'd see these nodes, and they'd like be a flower, and they'd like open up, and then you'd see, I don't know, something, and those somethings would be the array, a signal box. It's like a signal box, and it has a certain set of you know, so many in this line, so many in that line, this over here, that over there. You know, it's like an array of and it tells a particular pattern, and each one is individual. So the array that each one carries is not similar to the other. I mean, not the same as the other. So that's what we're looking at. And they're highly, Thoth is saying right now to me, they're highly electrostatic when they're brought into contact with the lower magnetic levels, and they will at times touch those magnetic levels, the lower magnetic field. And when it does, it's going to go zzz, zzz, like that, because it's sending, it's coordinating. It's having to coordinate with the other hologram. See, in order to set up this pseudo hologram, I don't even know if that's the right word for it. It has to be in coordination with the hologram we already are existing in, or everything would just go, you know, go to heck. It would just blow it all crazy. We'd be upside down and backwards here. So it has to be coordinated. So that's what it's doing. As it touches our zone, there's going to be a little zip, and it's going to do that. And Thoth is saying that, you know, people are going to start experiencing that. They might be, you know, walking around outside, and all of a sudden their hair gets very electrostatic. Just really, all of a sudden, that would be funny, wouldn't it? You got your hair all combed nice, and then it just flies up in the air. But something like that. Or you might just be, you know, especially if you're near water, a large body of water, you might hear it. But you could hear it other ways too. You could be very inland and hear it, or pick up on it, maybe see a flash in the sky, or maybe right in front of your eyes. He's saying it doesn't necessarily have to be in the sky, because it's the electromagnetic field. It's disturbing when it does that, slightly disturbing. So you could be anywhere on the planet. You don't even have to be near water, he's saying, and it would, like, you know, maybe put a little blue dot in front of your eye, or you feel this electrical current just, you know, slightly, or your hair gets all staticky all of a sudden. And that's when it's touching and disturbing the field, but it has to do that in order to make the connections necessary to line all these functions up together. So let's stop sharing there and go back over here again. I'm just going down the line here. Oh, yes. Then after I wrote about, and after I did my picture, I swear to you, right after it, some of these things are just, you know, amazing, because I finished it, okay, and I was like kind of tired because I really worked on it hard, just that little picture, and I thought, well, I'll just go on Facebook and see what's interesting and whatever. And I think it was Pamela Menton that posted this, and I just flipped when I saw it. Now let me bring it open. Let me find it. It's here. I know it is. It's not it. Here it is. Okay, so I need to bring your screen up over here, because I want to show you guys this. It is a video. Okay, we won't watch it all. It's very short, but I just want to show you. So here we go. Gosh, guys.
It's a process called sonoluminescence. The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid, and you'd look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star.
Okay, now I just, I flipped when I saw that, and I went to Thoth about it, and that's not you guys. Oh gosh, I didn't turn you off, did I? Where are we? Here we are. Stop sharing. There. Okay. When I saw it, I was just like, my gosh, I just finished creating that artwork. And so I went to Thoth, and he said it's basically the same principle, but it's in a much more advanced. This is just, they're just playing with it. It's in a much more advanced and controlled package. And that's why you see the light coming down and then going out, because it's a frequency controlled situation and is operating off of the magnetics, or the higher magnetics of the planet itself. And especially these solar lunar sheaths. I should have read a little bit about that, but we just don't have time for all of that, but you can find it on my Spirit Mythos. So anyway, I just had to share that. That was amazing. And to find it, just 20 minutes after I finished doing that drawing was something else. Okay, let's see, where are we here? Did that. We're going pretty quickly here. Okay, now, so just hours after I drew that, I come across something else. And let me bring that up. Hold on one more minute here. This is another, I just did a clip of this other video here. Let me bring it up, and then I'll do a share. I'll do a share screen on it again so you can see this. There's probably an easier way to do this share screen thing, but I don't know what it is. So I keep coming back over here because I don't want to accidentally turn everybody off. So here we go. Okay, now just listen to just this little bit that I clipped off here. I can play it.
Just using the same language of the Mayan prophecy contained in the Dresden Code, the Lords of the Circles put a signature on the English fields by using a symbol that belongs to the Sumerian civilization. It is called Din Jir and appeared in 1992, incorporated into a pictogram representing the solar logos, which also means union of heaven and earth.
Okay. Stop. Now, I researched this. The minute I saw it, I knew it was connected. I couldn't tell you how. This wasn't as obvious, but this is connected. So I researched the Din Jir, and they have it wrong. That is not a Din Jir. I looked up the picture for that, and I'm going to show that to you. Just a little picture here. Where are you guys? Share screen. So that's really the Din Jir. And it's not, I think I can do a new share here. It is definitely not. Where is it? Hold on, folks. Hold on. I seem to have lost my place, which is not fun. That was that. I'll just have to get this one because I can't find the other one. So, but if you can see that, the dingier is down at the bottom, what they're calling the dingier, but you can see that it is not the same. So, but I was called to this one, not the other one. Now, the other one that they're saying represents in the Anunnaki stuff, it represents a symbol that says this is the sky god or sky king or whatever. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but this one is not that. Thoth says that this one is called, and I'm going to have to bring that name up so I won't get it wrong. It is called, or at least he's calling it that for our purposes. He's calling it a Kemthir-Ra. Kemthir-Ra. Now I'm going to put this in our little local window. Where are you guys? Why do I keep losing you? Oh, there. Stop share. Here we are. Okay, local chat, folks. Here it goes. This is the way he had me spell it, Kemthir-Ra. And the Kemthir-Ra is, now I don't have it written out explanation, so I'm just sort of winging it here. But it is what is creating, it's this whole setup with the hydrogenous fields, the hydrogenous bubbles. It's a hydrogenous connective node. So that all the work that they're doing that has to do with holographic bubble-like spheres or holographic spheres that are contained and can be moved, transported from one place to another. See, we're not talking about, the difference is we are living in a hologram, okay, but that's a created thing from us being here, our brain, mind, heart, synapse, many, many things. And it creates this whole field that we all share in a consensual reality. But a hydrogenous sphere hologram is something that's contained. It's either in this sphere that he said is stable or in these little bubbles that float around. And there are other ways to do it as well. Sorry, there's raining outside. So the symbol, the Kemthir-Ra, represents that kind of contained field. And when it's placed in that, and what is the rest of that? That's the suns. That's the whole solar inscription. And it's the merging the two spheres, the two worlds, the suns coming together to form a new system. I mean, it's all there in that crop circle, you know. But that's what that means, and that's why I brought it into this, because we have the suns, we have the transition of worlds, and the fact that the Kemthir-Ra has to be the transitional vehicle, because the pyramidus radius is just a theater. It's nothing without building the hydrogenous hologram within it. So, you know, that's the importance of it. Don't mean to belabor the point, but it is important. Okay, so I think we're almost. Okay, I have a second part to this that's going to be about how it works with the personal body, and that's where Bill comes in as a drawing I did and everything. But before I get to that, and the second part is not as long as the first part, as far as me talking, I'm hardly going to say anything. So I thought right now we've opened for discussion, but let's limit, let's see what time. Oh, we're doing well. I've only been going for 32 minutes. This is great. So let's talk just a little while about what I just talked about, if anybody has anything to say about it or questions to ask. And then we'll go to the second part and we can discuss that, okay? So I'm gonna say open, you know, let's do a finger rising if you have something you want. Okay, Bill, you're on. Open your mic and go for it. You just need to unmute your mic there.
Okay, there it is. I just, a fast note on the swastika thing. You have a crop formation about 2 days ago. That's a more sophisticated one. And it's obviously bringing in 4 big, huge spirals coming into it. So it's centering. So when you plot these formation in grids, that's a main grid system that's connecting Orion and some other major Rochelle grids in UK. So I'm just flagging that crop formation as something very close to what you're talking about, maybe staying a little bit farther. It has 4 dots in it that's giving you an 8-point system.
Oh. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Bill. Anyone else? Yes, Allison?
I moved too soon.
You know, this is fascinating. I don't know what it all means yet, but as you were speaking, particularly about the phase conjugate process, that the geochronism that Bill kind of reintroduced to us in synergy, I keep on really seeing there is something with this in the manifestation process, this lockstep or this activation sequencing that's happening. And then I won't remember what you called it, but maybe a month back we had a either you did videos on this kind of membrane like that keeps
Aegeus, the Aegeus, yeah.
The Aegeus, because you know, we need to, like, there's a certain sequencing of integration that has to happen before there is an expansion. And so something tells me that all of this is connected, and like I'm tuning into it in like the new creation process, like the new way we'll be creating from a knowing and like embodying, like if humans are ready to embody this invisible aspect, and that's what like the spiral of creation. And so it's like this awareness of the lockstep process. So it's one thing. And the second thing is, in the last 2 synergy sessions, I saw the bubble, and actually I was inside that bubble. That's what it looked like. It was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it felt like I didn't know, but like around like a snow globe thing. Like I was in this membrane, this bubble, you know, and floating and being able to see the world, the cosmos from this perspective of being inside that bubble.
Yes, yes. Well, one of the things that I didn't mention, but you reminded me just now to mention about the hydrogenous bubbles is that they're going to, it's not in the bubble. At first I thought it was in the bubble, but then I realized it wasn't. But when they start opening the rays and they start connecting and creating these holographic hydrogenous stable fields. See, the sun isle, as they're calling it, is the first one, and that's the one they introduced. They introduced it as the starter package. But with these bubbles, they're going to create more, you see, and they'll have different purposes, each one, whatever. And once they get a certain amount of those, then they're going to, you know, start connecting those together. And you see, it's like an erector set. You know, they're building this other level. And it's interesting because I was looking for something, I can't remember what, and I came across this picture, and I didn't know if I'd show it to you guys here or not, but I was so drawn to it. This guy's created this thing. Let me see. Okay, now I've got to do this share screen thing again. I've got to learn how to do this easier. Got all these things on my shared screen. Just a minute here. Let me go back and do the share screen. Here we go. This pool, when I saw this, now this is, you know, it's not real. They've created it out of an artwork, but it's showing these floating islands that this guy designed. He wants to have these floating islands above cities, and they're not floating. They're actually on these big girder beams. But he showed this pool with this, and I was looking at this, and I was going, I know this. It's already created. It's already real. You know, not exactly like this, but as much so as you can get it. And here's what it looks like at a distance. Let me bring up the other picture here. Let's see, where is it? I thought I had the other picture. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I'm going to do another share screen. Oops, I didn't do it. Over here. See how you see the bottom part is actually girders coming up from below. Well, isn't that interesting? Because what we have here sort of represents our second layer of holographic field. I know this is a 3D thing that this man designed and envisioned, and it's great, but where did it come from? He's really tapping in, I believe, to this whole principle, you know. And when I saw these lotus designed arenas here, I just flipped, because I absolutely know that one area at least of this this hologeneous structure that hologram that we're going to have in the pyramidus radius is going to have these. They're going to have a much bigger purpose than just being beautiful, but it's going to have the water in it and the whole thing, you know. And I was just like, oh yes. Again, divine Google, you know, came to my service, which is kind of ironic, because we find out that Google, from WikiLeaks, that Google is in with all the elites and everything, but they give you such great stuff, you know. So I'm visualizing that they're going to be transformed, you know, and so we can keep the good stuff and get rid of the not so good stuff. Anyway, so that's that. Let me go back to you guys here. Oh, here it is. Share screen. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to share at the moment, Allison, before we move on? Okay. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to speak up? Okay. Tricia?
Okay. I'll help you out with that word. Hydrogenous.
Hydrogenous. There it is. We see, I mean, I keep saying this, but it's such an ironic joke that I would be the one that has to come up, you know, say.
You've been in Hawaii too long. You're trying to spell each. You're trying to say each.
Yeah,
hydrogenous.
Hydrogenous. Okay, I've got it.
I've been seeing that.
It's like
it's like what they were.
It's like the other word, androgynous. Isn't there an androgynous? Yeah. So this is hydrogenous. Okay.
Anyway, I've been seeing these bubbles for years, and I didn't know what they were.
Ah, yeah.
So this is really interesting.
To the future, so to speak, and here they are. If it's the same ones, yeah, amazing. Yes, Bill, Edie, whoever.
Okay, just a fast reminder: the future cities are all floating cities with the suspended.
Yeah.
Up in the main city is the Golden City, will be over Angkor Wat, and that's it.
And rephrase it again, because you moved your hands around.
You know, I'm not hearing real well could Bill, about the last part, the main city, when you said Angkor Wat, what did you say about that?
The main future city for the planet will be the Golden City, which is also floating.
Yes.
Be over the present Angkor Wat area.
Wow, yeah.
So that connection, grid-wise, Earth grid-wise, and Angkor Wat is vital for this big ley line up through Beijing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Down through Teton and Crestone, down in the Gulf of Mexico, that big ley line that's connecting about 6 of the ascension grid chakras on just that one system. But the Angkor Wat Golden City, the elevated thing, is a primary anchor for that whole business. That's working now.
Where would I find in my own stuff where I wrote about that? Do you know, Bill?
God only knows. I don't.
Okay. I'll look at that, because that's important. Bill and Kayasa, they're always bringing up stuff of mine that I just like, what? I wrote that? Okay, that's good. Thank you, Bill. Okay, before we move on to the second part, because we're getting close to needing to do that, is there any last thing anybody wants to say? Okay. So the second part has to do with personal work with it. But wait, before we get to that, one more thing. So we're going to be talking more, obviously, about all of this. But those of you who want to do planetary work with the Areiopax, this is sort of setting the stage of understanding why you're doing it or why you want to do it. It's like, this is what you're doing. So now, you know, we're not going to cover in this video how to do it, where to go, what, you know, this is all much later. But I mean, you can already start doing some stuff. I mean, Cindy did. She did one at the Grand Canyon. Cindy, would you like to, I didn't get a chance to post what you wrote. Would you like to just, you know, share with us just a bit, you know, about your experience using the Areiopax in the Grand Canyon?
Sure. Be happy to. I went with a friend, Deborah, who's also in Air Korea, and we both felt we should connect also to Stonehenge while we were there. It was really beautiful. It was the most ease and grace day I have ever had at the Grand Canyon. And we just each sat in meditations at different spots. At the very end, I was given in my meditation a beautiful golden fleur-de-lis symbol. And Deborah had not told me this, but she was told to bring a fleur-de-lis bracelet that she actually had made at a Tom Kenyon workshop with the Hathors. So it was really very magical. And the whole day was beautiful. So thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Giving us that. It was a beautiful day of work.
Well, you're most welcome. And you know, you see, it doesn't have to be extremely complex. It depends on the individual, what the things they're working with. For instance, you know, Bill installing one with his group, let's say, and Cindy installing one, and let's say, you know, Kailasa installing one. Let's just take like these three completely different people. I mean, we all have things in common, but you know, you're three individuals. You're going to have your individual types of not only experiences, but the way you do it. You see, this is why Thoth is not giving me or wanting me to give you, this is exactly how you do it. Now you do this and then you do that. And, you know, because that's not what this is about. This is a very organic process, because it's not only, we have to realize everything we're doing out there is in here. And everything we're doing in here is out there because it's all in here. But, you know, it's a reflection. So we have to individuate it. You know, Thoth has said again and again, being on planet Earth is not about us all being one homogeneous lump, you know. We all come together and we're just one and that's it, and there's no individuation. Individuation is important on this planet. Ego is important on this planet. It is bringing these things into balance, bringing ego into balance with the higher self, and individuation being true I am presence in that individualized spark. So that's what it's about on this earth, and it's going to be about that in the new earth too, but only in a higher, more refined level. And that's what we're preparing for. So back to what I was saying, it's really important that when we're working with the Areiopax, the ELIXIS MUNDI, the whole process, but the Areiopax in activations, installations, activations, that we do personalize them in that sense, you know, the higher personal, that we say, well, what am I feeling like doing with this? Maybe I'm just feeling like doing some Hail Marys and picturing it in the sky. Okay, it's happened. Or maybe you want to do something else. Maybe you want to do artwork and work with that. Or maybe you want to see some kind of a geometry and make it more complex. And that's okay too. If you want to make it more complex, that's okay. It's like whatever you want to do with it from your higher individualized being, that's what should be working, you know, for you. That's why it's so important. Okay, so now let's go to that. Let's go to the person, the individual. And before I turn it over to Bill for a few minutes, I want to bring up another picture I did. And this was a real quickie picture too. Let me find it here. Okay. And I'm going to put on the viewer, get you guys back. Okay. Can you guys see? I guess you can. You can see that. There we are. Now, now we're on the subject here of the 7 sun worlds that Thoth talked about, and I recently did videos for portal members on that. But I also, you can find the 7 sun information otherwise too. But all of you I know about it. So I chose to make them triangles here, or little pyramids, because I wanted to show the directional flow. So we have the person, and we have how the Areiopax fits with the person. Thoth likes the idea of creating a sort of a wavy line going through the accelerator bar rather than a straight line. He thinks it's a little more accurate. So that's what we have here. And because it's a waveform that's moving through there. So we have the violet sun on the top above the head moving upward. We have the blue sun above the head moving downward. We have the gold sun at the solar plexus, and it is distributing its energy frequency up, down, and to the sides, because it's the golden flash, if you remember from the videos I made on that. And then we have the yellow sun really occupying more or less the same space, if you want to call it space, in the chakra format. But these are not chakras. See, these are beyond chakras, but we're showing how it lays out. And that is our current solar self, and of course it does reflect greatly in our solar plexus chakra. We move down lower, underneath the body, so to speak, and we have the black sun, which is, that void, and you'd have to read up, or not read up really, watch the video on that, it's very short. And then they have also the red chakra, which is dissolution, tearing everything down, so that it can go through the void and be collected up into the golden sun, the yellow sun, and then move into the golden and rayed forth, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very crude, admittedly, diagram of what goes on. Now it's a snapshot, and it's also 2D. If we could 3D this whole thing, you would see all kinds of marvelous stuff, and I can include things in it that I can't hear. But this just gives you, a basic idea of the format of how, because the sun worlds, we see the sun worlds as stages of this earth moving into the ascension modality. And we see things actually happening in our solar sun that are occurring, that reflect this. But we also see it in us and in our reflection of this picture, where it's really all the story is, and how it works with the Areiopax in unfolding our portal dimensional being. We are living portals, that's what we are. So this gives you an idea of that. So I'm going to go back now. Oh, wait a minute. The other thing I want to put up, so before Bill starts talking, is the picture he made here. Let me get that up. And Bill wants to show you too physically how to operate this, but first I want you to see the picture. And that is here. Okay, so this is Bill's. This is all his deal. And of course, he's got all kinds of things written here, but you can see he's using it in synergy, and he's using it in all these different ways. But I just wanted you to see it because it's a really impressive page. And if you want this PDF, I'm actually going to hook it up on the website on Cyrus Arising, and I'll announce it and everything, so you can see it. There's of course links to Bill and this video and everything else. So, okay, so now we're going to go back to Bill. Oops, where are we here? And you might want to put Bill on large. So if you go up to your speaker view and you click on, speaker view. Yeah, when Bill starts talking, the picture will get bigger. And Bill, if you could sit a little closer, it would be possible so people could see you a little better. And you need to unmute, Edie. And when he starts speaking, you can see him instead of me.
Well, I had it on speaker view. So I don't know if that's, everybody can.
Everybody has to put it on speaker view of their own.
Right, the right-hand corner, right.
Mhm.
Okay, Bill, you can talk.
One important comment on this system, when I moved to Crestone, Thoth noted that my light bodies were all shattered and he had completely rebuilt the light bodies. So there are some special chakra symbols, but the breathing exercise for the Areiopax was the primary one he gave me to recreate the light bodies.
Yeah, that's good.
Major idea. Now, he didn't say it was an Areiopax, but I knew it was because you install it the same way. So that's an important point about it. In the geometry also, the Areiopax is formed by two Rochelle systems that are flashing separately, but they phase match to create the Areiopax format. Another important point, the moving back and forth across the what Thoth calls the Eden point.
Just a minute, I'm going to adjust the screen so you can see.
He installs his trident lotus in this position too, calls it the Eden point. That's just below the sternum. And that is the point that we create with this core acceleration bar. Now the core acceleration bar is keying into a vital program. It's a non-polarized creation realm called the Nutri-Universe. Now the Nutri-Universe is where these programs come from. It's atomic and it's non-polarized, so it's real. The polarized universe, the stars and galaxies and so forth, are not real. They're convenient, so we work with them. So this core acceleration bar brings in the Nutri-Universe and links into that, so it makes this Areiopax, it programs it, makes it viable and doable. So it's critical to do that. So this thing that Maya shows us with a wavy thing to it is a very good thing that you might image while you're, if you can count, move, and so forth. If you're younger than 82 years old, well, you might be able to do that and still imagine this wavy thing. That would be a good touch to bring to it, I think. Okay, so now you want me to show it? Okay.
Okay. We have to do a little adjusting here to get him on the screen. Push your chair back. Look at yourself, Bill. Look at yourself here and see how far back you've got to go.
Oh,
back up and hold on. Okay.
I'm not going to do the whole thing because it'd take too long. I'll adjust it here. Okay. So you have one hand, doesn't make any difference which hand, and locate the point just under the sternum. That's the Eden point, or the third chakra, as it is now anyway. And that's where Thoth's trident is located as a symbol for that. So you can move one hand back and forth on that. It doesn't make any difference what speed or which hand that you're using. Now with the other hand, you'll breathe and install the Areiopax. Doesn't make any difference which shoulder you start on. Now for those of you that have worked with the Areiopax before, that had a 7, 5, 3, 1 breathing sequence. Now just as of a few days ago, we've added 9 across the top. So it's 9, 7, 5, 3, 1 breathing sequences. So you have one hand now, and you breathe and move for each point. So I'll breathe and move in about the sequence that, for me, I have to breathe fast. And I'll count while I'm doing it so you know what I'm doing. So it's, get this thing going first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, down 1, 7, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1, 2, 3, down 1, and that's it for the upper triangle.
Remember that you're breathing with each one.
Now, yeah, I'm breathing.
Tell them.
Okay, now you have to do the other triangle, and I'm not going to bother going through the whole thing, but you found your center point. Now the bottom one starts about where the top of the hips are, and then it comes up. So it'd be 9 across here, 7, 5, 3, 1, and then the center. That's it.
Remembering that you're breathing.
Remembering that each time you're breathing on each count. Is that?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bill. Now, that's great. And, you know, I think this is a very powerful and viable way to do it. And that's why I asked Bill to share it with you. But you don't have to do that. You know, you can create your own scenario that comes to you, or you can take what Bill did and make it a little simpler if you need to, or just change the sequencing. You know, work with it internally, or you might start with Bill's because you've got something to work with there, and then change it a little as you go along. See, there's all different ways to do it, but that's great, Bill, and I really appreciate you sharing that one. It's a powerful process the way he's showing it there. There's no doubt about that. Okay, now I'm going to go back to regular view because this other one just freaks me out when people start popping up in my face. Okay, so now someone had a question or something, or what comment?
I had a question.
Yes.
This is the first time I actually recall seeing Bill show it, and so I understand the top triangle with the 9, the 7, the 5, the 3, the 1. I thought the bottom triangle was below the waist, but the bottom triangle is still above the waist, but just in the opposite direction. So it's like a Star of David up here.
You're asking Bill or me? His process or me or what?
Probably, Bill's process, the one that he just did.
So Bill, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that the 9, the 7, I thought the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7 was a triangle below the waist, but it seems like it's above the waist, overlaid on the downward pointing.
Is that right, Bill? Wait.
So say again the question.
Okay, I'm going to draw it, even though I'm not an artist here. 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. Okay. I used to think it was like this, where here was your like waist. But the way I saw you do it today, this bottom one is actually above the waist. You're just doing 9 here, then 7.
No, it's correct the way you've drawn it.
Okay.
The bottom line is where the hips are.
But that's very short period to get to here, Bill. That's what she's saying. If that's the
No.
bottom, there's very little space to get.
Well, you can go down about where the pubic arch is.
But it's not going down.
You go 9 across, up, 7, up, 5,
You're still going
up.
above it.
So it's still from the hips up.
Yes.
All of it's taking place in this region. It's not like an
That's
area
right.
like a
It's
star.
down here.
It's, yeah.
Yes, it's correct. It's down here up to the point. This area up is where the triangle is.
I see.
Like you drew it in the first place there.
If I may interject here, do I have my mic on? Yeah, I guess, yeah, I do. There's a lot of different ways, as I said, to do this, but also there's, you could even do mini Areiopaxes. Like if you just wanted to do one in the heart, you could just do one in the heart, or you could do the full body, and you could extend what Bill has all the way down, like I showed in my diagram, all the way down, between the legs down, the whole seven suns picture. See, the different things that you're moving in. Bill's is dealing with this particular synergy that he's working with, and which doesn't mean it's not viable for you as well, but that's the path that he came through to get to his particular. So, if you wanted to incorporate all the seven suns, you'd have to have a fuller format, or one that embraces a larger spectrum. Okay, Bill, I know you're just dying to say something. Okay, what?
The system that he gave to me, as I understand it, was a vital part of rebuilding the light bodies. So I'm continuing that particular approach to it, because right now the programs coming in are building the new human and the new bodies. So I'm looking for the resonance.
It's not incomplete. It's complete for what you're doing. I'm just accentuating the fact that, there are other modalities that you can offer with him, because those.
That's the reason I'm doing the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Relative to the new light bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in here? Yes, Kailasa.
Well, I have a question. Are we supposed to do this process like in a special ceremony when we take the Areiopax to some location, or can we do this every day, or how often?
We're talking about two different pies here. One is the planetary pie, and the other is the personal. And of course, each one that you do relates to the other. But if you're doing a planetary, you're obviously going to go to a place that you feel guided to, like Cindy did, the Grand Canyon. It doesn't have to be the Grand Canyon. It can be, maybe there's a special corner in your town that is vacant, a vacant lot, and you feel this fantastic energy there. And you're saying, I'm guided to do that there. It could be that little, in other words, or it could be a bigger location. You're full of fantastic locations. And we'll get to that in a minute. But, so that's planetary, and they might be, I'd find it to be a little more, it doesn't have to be ceremonial. It could be, if that's what torques you up, if that's what gets you connected, a ceremony, we'll do a ceremony. If you don't need one, then you don't. Now for the personal, when you're just activating your own personal, this is you and yourself in your bedroom or your porch or your backyard. I mean, you don't have to be in a fantastic location. You certainly can be. But that's a personal thing. So the recommendation is that all of you who really want to work on the planetary level, definitely work with it on personal level too, because you've got to get your own systems up to par, so to speak, with the energy fields to really be able to tune in enough in the other to make a real, contact. It can be simple contact, but it has to be one that has been developed from your own energy system.
Are we supposed to do this one time? I mean, on a personal level, one time or several times?
I would say do it ever so often, I mean, at least once, but, let your higher self be your guide and It's especially if you're out there doing some planetary stuff. I would say, like, before you go out to do that, let's say, Kailas, you know, you're ready to go to some ancient pyramid site that you feel is the right place. Well, I would say before you go, before you leave your house, you got your bags packed or whatever, you're standing there, you do it. And then you've got it, you know, in your being, and then you go out and do the other. So I would say definitely before you go to the site or the location or wherever, that you do that first.
I'm actually going to do an activation with the help of a group of people here in Mexico. Mm-hmm. They have also worked with the Red Queen host.
Yeah.
And we are going to an ancient pyramid site not far from Teotihuacan. And so I was thinking that we could do this, you know, the activation on a personal level, like maybe a day before or 2 days before going to this pyramid site.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay. Please report back with pictures.
Yeah, yeah, we are going there on September 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, you'll hear about that. Don't worry. I'll post about it.
Okay, Bill?
Remember that this Areiopax is 2 Rochelle systems working at the same time that come into a phase match. So you can intentionally put one Rochelle system where you're going, whether it's an event, a place, another star system, another dimension, the future path, or wherever, whatever, and use the other Rochelle system as your own personal or group connective to the other system. So remembering that they're phase matched to create this special state of being and energy format, linking it to the Nutri-Universe. Okay, that's it.
Great. Yeah, I think that's good, Bill. Thanks for contributing that. Absolutely. You know, the more dimensional you make it, the better, you know. Anyone else?
Yeah, maybe I'll just add a few words. On the 23rd, Kailas and the rest of the group, I will also be doing my group work, and that always includes the Areiopax. I always tend to do 3 Rochelle formats, and the last one is always the Areiopax. So I've been working with the Areiopax, to my understanding, of course, and according to all the information that you, Maya, and Bill have been sharing with me. And, well, you know, Quorum Lexis is the name that Toth gave to my Rochelle group, and I'm still using that very actively. So we are gathering on a monthly basis with the group that I have. It's pretty stable. And we're also always including the Areiopax, and I've had pretty good results. But I think I'll just make sure that you get also the reporting on that.
I would love that, yes. And you might find yourself developing it a little further based on what you're hearing here. Maybe you could even take this is just an idea, but take your group out on an outing sometime to a special place, and, you know, try to work with an installation of some kind.
Well, yeah, maybe there is something interesting I can add here. There is a guy, so my wife Ruby is now helping to prepare a new sort of center, a wellness center, which is called ELIXIS. It's connecting all the energies from Lemuria, Atlantis, and Egypt. So everything that you are talking about in spirit mythos and all the sacred and secret knowledge that has been shared through Toth to you, they're working with it as well. And it happens to be that place where he's building it. It's going to open in 2018. It's smack in the middle of the Rochelle hotspot of Belgium.
Wow.
So you identified that, and I think I'll just also indicate that, or hint to the guy to look is his name, and to my wife to actually actively use that on the ELIXIS site. They've been doing quite some other rituals as well. There's a lot of people from the spiritual community in Belgium and the Netherlands involved in that. But yeah, it's interesting that now this knowledge can also be applied very specifically to this sort of spot.
Wonderful. Well, you know, I specifically asked requested if Bart could be Parm, Lexus, Bart could be present today. I don't know, Bart, but I just had a feeling that you really need to be in on this. You could always watch the video, but I wanted you here live. And I'm glad you contributed that. And, you know, I think that maybe there might be something turning here for you. You know, you were kind of searching of what direction all this might be moving. I think there might be something coming up with all of this. I don't know what at this time. Maybe we could discuss that privately later. But the point is, I just feel a very strong energy about this whole project with the Areiopax and the installations, activations having to do with the hydrogenous
yeah.
bubbles. Yeah, right. Anyway, that's what I'm feeling. So just take it and be with it and see how you feel. Maybe we can talk privately about it sometime.
Sure. Well, I already have already some answers on the questions and the stuff that I've been struggling with, Maya. So I agree with you full 100%.
Great. Okay. Yes, Allison.
Well, we'll definitely be working with the Areiopax in Scotland starting on the 12th in Roslyn Glen. And some of the women are already familiar, whether it's through exposure to Bill's group or any of your writings. But any suggestions, we're open. We're going to follow just our intuition and keep you posted.
Will you be on Iona?
We will be doing it on Iona and definitely Staffa. I got a real hit for Staffa.
Those
but
two
also
places.
on Mull at Castle Duarte.
Okay.
Got a very strong hit there. So I imagine you can't put it like too many places. There's also a farm on the other side of Mull in the north that keeps on coming up. There's a standing stone there, and that's come to me too.
Okay. Whatever comes to you and you feel appropriate, certainly do it. The Staffa and the Iona one just really, really stand out to me personally. I don't know, personally, thothically or whatever, that are really of major importance. Do you happen to know the date? Well, you would know the dates you're going to be at those two locations.
The 17th and 18th of September.
So
I will make sure I post.
Okay. Okay.
Like I'll post in the group like every day where we are and where we're using it.
Okay, because there might be something coordinating with, especially with the Staffa one. I don't know yet, but I'm kind of feeling that there might be a coordination of some kind with that. So that's good to know.
Okay, I'll keep you posted. And then there's a eclipse on the, I think the 16th.
Okay. Oh, eclipse on the 16th. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill.
For Allison, we're going to be going to Roslyn. That's based on the L gate, time gate, remember? And remembering that this Eye of Ra time gate is really the vital essence of the Areiopax Rochelle system. So you could amp up the whole thing, probably making it a lot more stable and so forth by using that Eye of Ra process before you use the Areiopax. Because the Eye of Ra is the living being within the Rochelle Areiopax format.
Thank you. I was going to actually ask you that. So thanks for preempting that. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything anyone else wants to say? We're kind of winding down, but we have a few minutes yet. Okay, Kailasa?
Yeah, well, I have something to say and then a question to Bill. What I want to say is that I see like an interesting energy being created here because Allison is working with a group, I think she said on the 17th and 18th of September. I'll be working with another group on September 23rd, and I think Kwaram said something about September 24th.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to invite the rest of you listening to this. If you want to do some work with the Areiopax around those dates, I want you to.
Yeah.
I want to do an invitation for you to do it, because I see a powerful energy being built here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it would be more powerful if many of us were doing it at the same time or around the same days. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, I think I'll set up, we're all on Facebook, I believe. I will set up the Facebook page off of the Osiris Rising. And I'll not a page, I'll do an event, I guess you can do that, something like that. A page that we can go to and say, okay, you know, this is how, so we can all coordinate. Those of us who are working specifically with this and want to work with it at that time. Not only those of you who are going to be in those locations, but others, they're saying, well, you're going to do that. I'd like to do something at that time, you know, so we'll just set up an event page that catalogs all of that. I think that would be good.
Yeah, and I think it could be all throughout September, so maybe people have time to plan what they are going to do, and we could use September as a marker, you know, to concentrate our consciousness, so to speak.
What I'll do is I'll set up a private group and invite people, or maybe not so private, but a group that I can end when it's over with, you know. I think
yes,
that'd be better for the whole.
And now the question that I have is to Bill. You said that it was convenient to work with the Eye of Ra process. Do you have any written material about it, or can you explain very quickly what is that process?
The Eye of Ra. Well, speakers on this. Yeah. Eye of Ra was given to us by Thoth, and it's how to operate a time gate, and it's really the vital part of the Rochelle system, and of course Areiopax uses it. So the Eye of Ra is a golden ratio rhombic format built into the Rochelle, and it's a rhombus thing. And there's a specific process in using it where you internalize it and then you implode it. That's your time gate, and that works with the body. He's told us very strongly not to try and actually do the time jump with the thing, or try and send something off in time. Don't do that. But you can use it to increase your own efficiency in connecting across time, remembering it's nonlinear, but across time with this advanced system where you can increase accuracy, precision, the extent, the levels, and everything else by using the thing. So that's how we've used it from the beginning. And since it is the essence of the Rochelle system, then it's the process. It's a very specific one. It's safe and it's doable. Once you've done it a couple of times, you don't have to go through the whole step again, because it's fairly long when you first do it. Just a good intention and a breath, and bang, you're
Bill,
there.
Do you have written material on that, or like a PDF or something I could put up on the, when I put up the video, I could put that.
You have written material.
Yeah, it's the same stuff Thoth gave us originally years ago.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I can send that.
Okay, if you do, I'll put that up there where I bed this video, when it'll be announced. You'll have all this information. Okay. As you were speaking, as you were speaking, Bill, where I received from that source, whatever you want to call it, he showed me. Well, first of all, what is the Eye of Horus? The Eye of Horus, Eye of Ra. The Eye of Ra is a lens that's been placed over the torn. Well, there's the torn. The Eye of Ra is over the torn area in Orion, call it torn, where, you know, the energies of this universe are being displaced because of that tear. And I mean, that's a long story, so I'm putting it very simply. So there was a lens placed over it. So he calls it a lens. It's hard to, you know, bring up words. Then that's the Eye of Ra. Well, but the telesakara is the capstone that keeps the Eye of Ra, you know, working and whatever. So while Bill was talking, I saw the eye, like an eye, you know, like a big eye, and you could see the slope of the lens of the lids of the eye. And then you could see the iris and the pupil with iris and everything. And I saw that the eyes squinted a little bit and then opened and then squinted and opened. I don't know how many times. And then is it called the pupil, the big round part, not the little tiny part, but the big round part sort of got, you know, moved. And then the little tiny black part, because I don't know the names of these things, got smaller and then larger and larger. And then it came down a little bit again. And as I was seeing this, I was realizing what he was showing me. He was showing me that it's the Eye of Ra is a lens. It really is a lens. And it does these motions and movements within it. And that then he told me that, or I received that when we receive the opening path of these 3 strands or fiber optics, as I call it, from the mother universe, so that the mother's milk could come through to the planet in May 29th, and we're getting direct signals from our mother universe. This is causing the Eye of Ra to do different sequencing in its pupils and its focus, you know. And as it does that, this is part of the whole grand healing of this tear in our universe. Now we have to consider that the universe and the tear and all of this is our universe. And we actually share it. It's a shared hologram with our kindred. Although they may see different aspects of it, they may see grander aspects, more dimensional aspects, we actually share the holographic whole with our kindred. And we're all together, those kindred and us, working to repair the Orion tear. So this is a big deal. And as we receive directly from the Atosic universe, our mother universe, they're receiving too, but they've been receiving for some time. They needed us to start receiving it. Because they told me a long time ago that the earth is positioned in a way that it's really germane to the healing of the tear of the universe. I don't get the whole thing, and I'm not even going to try to get into it right now, but it's germane to that. So, so Bill, now that you need to sort of factor in when you're doing your work with the Eye of Ra, that things have changed a little bit. That doesn't mean it's going to throw everything off. I don't mean that. I just mean that it's going to expand it, because the eye now can see more. It's got mama with it, you know. There's a deeper perception in the eye, the lens that's controlling the factors that have been damaged in the neurons of the body of the Orion body, so to speak. So this is Osiris's eyes, really, in a way, even though we're calling them the eyes of Ra.
Okay, so when I send that procedure, right now I don't know how I would change the procedure to fit what you're talking about.
You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just giving you this as information for the shelf, so that you can have it as you start working more with all of this. You'll have this as back information, because it might develop at this point, you know.
Okay. All right.
So that's cool. What you've got is great. Okay. All right. So we're coming up on the time here that I set. Any last thing, and then we'll just end for today. Oh, I see a cute little baby peeking around Dawn's shoulder. Oh, hi there.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I just wanted to ask or add one more thing with regards to that vision that you had from Thoth, the eye that can see better now. That would be, you know, a major confirmation of what my soul was aching for, and that is to see a result of the light work that we've collectively been engaged in.
Yes.
So that's really encouraging for me personally to hear that.
Yes.
So that there is actually, all the stuff that we've been doing under the radar, as individual light groups and light beings, and the fact that we're not alone in this game, and that the Areiopax is a key element to actually help repair the whole thing. Because it's been going on for so long, all the manipulations and all that. So that's really encouraging, and I really thank you for that.
Yes, it's encouraging to me too, Bart. And I think I may not even wait 2 weeks. Maybe next Sunday I may do another Zoomcast featuring what I've been wanting to talk about for a little while now, and it's building. It's not a pretty subject because we're going to go into some of the darker things that are happening, not in detail, but we have to set a stage for it, because I want to bring forth the understanding of the beauty that's awaiting us with all of this, and how it's juxtaposed with all of other stuff, and what's really going on there. Because if you understand what's really going on the darker side, so to speak, of what's happening on the planet now, and when I say really going on, I don't mean all the little details of the banks and the this and the that, but the basic spiritual understanding of what's really going on, then you can see what's coming here, and you can see how the two face match and how it's going to line up. I'm not giving predictions, because there's all kinds of outer ways it could, work out, but the truth about it, and what the beauty of what's awaiting us with all of this, even though it doesn't look too great right now on the surface. So I think that we may do that next week. I'm going to Skype it out and see if we can, but certainly it's on my list to do a Zoomcast on that. Yes, Bill.
I want everybody to be very clear that when we're talking about time gates, we're not talking about this rubbish of the Montauk Project science and the dark side and the oratronic time gates. This has nothing to do with that crap.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I Ra time gate is valid, Metatronic, and vital. The other is junk.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been reading more in my, Piece de Sophia book that Allison graciously got for me. And this is the one with the Coptic commentary of Gnosis. It's a Coptic text with commentary by the Hertogs. And, the whole thing seems to be rotating around the light goddess redeeming the planet, and the forces that are opposed to it, and the forces that are a part of the light redemption. It just seems like the whole book is based on that. And so anyway, I guess we'll end it for, okay, Allison, yes?
And this might be just like a larger conversation, but anyone who's willing and open, I'd love to have it, because I've been really sitting with like the relationship between the rhombus and the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Isis as the Areiopax. And it just keeps on like, something keeps on coming to me, like, the rhombus is, of course, that shape. And through the implosion process, which is one of the process that Bill uses, there's something that gets activated from like the static to like an activated. And I keep on seeing in my mind that an imploded rhombus really, it seems to turn into an Areiopax. Because the triangles, they go in like a tube.
Okay.
And of course, if it wasn't two-dimensional, it would look totally different. So I don't know what it means, but I'm just tracking this, and anyone that has insight, I would love to have a conversation.
That I had actually planned to show again. Now, I have posted this before, and someone sent this to me. I'm going to put my share screen on. Just a second here. Let me get you guys back so I can do that. Share. Where'd it go? It's going to be here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. See, this is that website. Someone sent it to me. It might have been Pamela again. She comes up with neat stuff. And of course, this was after we were already working again with the Areiopax recently. And it's just incredible. This guy's got this going with the internal Stargate series. Now, it's, like Bill's stuff, it's got lots of stuff to cover here, so we won't do that. But just looking at it, I am that I am, the spin and everything, this reminded, what you said to me, Allison, reminded me to show you this, because we have this whole Stargate portal thing. And look, if you have, and here's the Star of David there. But I was seeing when you were saying that, or if you put a rhombus around this and then you draw it in to the sides, thus imploding it, you would create a tunnel effect here, a conjugate position. So I believe you're right about that. I'm going to go to Thoth about it and get maybe just a little more clarification. But when you said that, it reminded me of these visuals here. See, even this has sort of like a rhombic influence around it. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I'm recognizing Dan Winter's work here. So the guy, whoever it is working with Dan Winter's material.
I think he is. Yes, I think you're right. When I read a little further about it, I believe it said that. Thank you for that, Quorum, because I forgot that. You know, yeah, I think that's what it is. So anyway, to say, yeah, I think you're onto something there. So where are we here?
Yeah, thank you for showing that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. It's hard to say goodbye, but I'm getting hungry. So I'm going to have to conclude here for today. It's been wonderful. Thank you all so much for being a part of this with me and your valuable input. And we may be doing this again next week. Let's see how it goes, because I think the topic needs to be discussed, and I think it will be very enlightening, and it'll help us adjust our perspective to all the muddy stuff that seems to be happening on the planet right now.
Thank you, Maya.
Okay, thank you all. I'm going to end my...
Aloha, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. And bye.